All right, another exciting menu. We've had to move some chairs around to make sure people had a space to sit, given how big the crowd is. Just a few of those that are here are Bill, Stephen, Tom, Susan, Kathy, Lynn, Helen, and then there's some in the back someplace. So, Bill, do you want me to show your pictures?
Nope.
Okay, well, have at it, and then we'll go to Kathy.
Were you going to talk about the,
Oh,
the-
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do it at the end.
okay.
I go.
Yep, rock and roll.
What I'm going to do here is show how I came up with my two images for the challenge. And what I ended up doing was focus stacking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the steps right now that I did, which is not a lot. What I did is I happen to use, I don't have macro stuff. I don't even have extension tubes for my Z8, so I had to improvise and use the 400mm end of the zoom lens that I have. And it shoots only at f8 minimum at 400. So this is f8 right here. But as you can see here, this is pretty sharp, but then everything falls off quite a bit. That could be an image in itself if that's what you want to achieve. But what you can do is start taking like one image here, and again, this should be on, not again, but this should be on a tripod, image stabilization off. And then what you do is you kind of move around and take another image of something that's out of focus over here. Because you'll notice here is pretty clear, here is pretty clear, got some sharpness here. That's because all of those are equal distance from your lens. Because when you focus on something, everything within that distance that's in front of you is going to be in focus. Then it just moves the slightest bit. A lot of these little berries on here are probably a 1/4 inch away from each other, maybe a 1/2 inch tops. So you can see how quickly it falls off. And what I did, as I go to the next image, and let's see, I'll try to get this. Next image, I took the focus and I brought it somewhere over here. Now you can see this is already going out of focus. So what I did is I tried to find 10 spots. I took 10 images here. Different spots here that would be at different focuses. And it doesn't make any difference if two of them are equal or anything like that, but I just picked what I thought were 10 different distances from each other so that the focus would, let's see. Now, like in this one, you can see that the back end is starting to get clearer and all this is out of focus. So it's just another image.
I never knew that bell peppers grew on such a small vine.
So in this one, you can see it's probably starting to move back up in this direction. Here you can see it becoming clearer under here. And
So are you leaving the settings the same and you're just twisting the,
all I'm doing is changing the focus point. It's on a tripod, you have your composition. You focus up here, you take your picture. You find maybe a berry that's in the back a little bit, you focus on that, you take another image. And you just work your way through whatever you're taking an image of. It could be a flower, you know, it could be a shoe. I mean, a shoe was actually the first thing I ever tried focus stacking on.
That's a thing that I tried that's worked pretty well that is maybe even simpler than that is I wouldn't worry about what's in focus or not, but I'll say, well, I'll get in front where it is focus, and, you know, I'll be a little bit, maybe everything's out of focus a little bit, but I'll do like a range. And so if I'm from out of focus too close to out of focus too far, and I just say to my camera, okay, do 20 exposures. And then the camera will put together the good ones, and then I don't have to figure out, you know, what's in focus and what's out of focus.
Right, but not everybody has.
Well,
A Z6.
Because I did that, I did it with 100 with this.
Uh-huh.
I let the camera decide where it had to
Yeah.
take, but we're not gonna go there.
Okay, I hadn't realized that, you're exactly right, yeah.
So this would have been my image submitted if I just wanted that one spot in focus, which is, you know, up in this area here. And this is the one where everything's in focus. And actually, it's not everything in focus. I probably should have taken 15 or 20 different ones. I should have paid a little more attention to things that were a little deeper in within these berries here. 'Cause I did find a few places that were a little on the out of focus. But you can see, I mean, we're at 140% right here. And everything is pretty sharp.
Well, it's a cool process.
Yeah.
And let's see, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do this,
So
then I'm gonna.
that was in camera, or did you do that in your editing software?
That's where I'm gonna go right now, is in the editing. Let's see. Ah, look at that, infinity.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah.
Familiar.
Well, once you get your 10 or 15, whatever amount of images that you want, you can come down here and it says focus merge.
Is this under file?
Yes. And you go add, which means you can tell it which ones you want to do. So I'm going to include from here to here is my 10 images. It'll read them in. And all I have to do is say okay. This is probably going to take maybe about 60, 70, 80 seconds. But what it's going to do is take all 10 of those images and put them together. And the first thing it's going to do, it's going to look to make sure everything's aligned properly so that it doesn't create things out of focus by not being completely. And you can see it kind of turns it to black and white so it can really pick up, I guess, the contrast where things are in focus and out of focus. And
Bill, I'm sorry, under file, what was it? What's the term?
Focus merge.
Focus merge.
focus merge, yeah. And they even have, and I was hoping to get some of the images that Chuck took of the stars when he put it into that other product. Because in Infinity, you have Astro merge as well.
Yeah.
And I would just like to see how good that is versus a standalone product. Because I've been pretty happy with
That's pretty cool.
Affinity. Yeah, when it starts getting closer to the finish, you'll see it kind of, and I wish I could move that focus merge dialog box out of there. But you can see it actually doing its job. And this is the old cranky laptop stuff. Thursday, I'm gonna have a new one. It should take 20 seconds. But there's really nothing else that the user has to do. It's done. That's all it is.
And you didn't go like methodically front to back or anything, it sounded like you went top.
I went
up,
right to
down.
left, down, and back to
Yeah,
right.
yeah, okay.
Where if I spent more time actually looking at these berries, I would have been able to identify ones that were maybe a little deeper that I should have taken a picture
I
of.
see.
or underneath a little bit. But I just did this one time. This was just,
Yeah.
you know,
And are you changing, so you're changing the focus,
no, I'm not I'm changing the focus point.
and how,
Now, I shot this using aperture priority, so I put my little dot.
oh, okay, you use that,
Yeah.
okay.
Now, you can do it with manual focus if you want, you know, that's fine.
I'm not sure, yeah, see, I'm not sure how to do that, anyway, okay, so you did aperture priority, so you can see the focus point.
Yeah.
Well, neat thing, Bill.
Yeah, because that just shows what I thought was quick and dirty kind of stuff.
That's cool.
Again, 5 more images and this thing might have been tack sharp every little place. But,
So just moving that focus point, wow.
because I remember seeing this process when I first joined this club back in when it was the council, down at the Council of Aging. And Alan Russo had done a overview on it. And to me, at that time, it blew my mind, like I had no idea what he was talking about. Now, I don't know if in the past 5 years that, you know, the technology of being able to just put 10 images in like we did and let it do it, you know, if that's always been there. But I try to make things as simple as possible. And, you know, if anyone wants to try this sometime and needs a little help, just give me a holler.
That's so cool.
I think it was National Wildlife, this is what the cover of it was, their annual photo litter, and had a picture of a wolf spider.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a wonderful
That
picture?
was amazing, North Carolina.
And that was a macro one that had been shot, because you could see the baby wolf spiders all around the face of the mama wolf spider. Just extraordinary.
All right. Now, if I can just do my part, and I don't know what's happening. Oh, that's the wrong day.
It wouldn't work without a tripod.
No.
Oh, I thought I was going to the wrong screen, but it's Bill again. That's what happened. Oh, goodness.
When you're looking at manual, you're using manual focus, is there any way to show where the focus point is at that point, near your manual?
Fox.
Huh?
I don't know, you've got a different camera.
I don't know.
Huh? I don't know either, that's why I was wondering. 'Cause
In the Sony, the box, you can see the
I don't
box.
see the little box on.
Or use aperture priority.
Yeah, I'll
Because
talk about that.
yeah, because being on the tripod, and I was shooting at 64 ISO f8, the shutter speed was 4/5 of a second. That's why I had to be on the tripod.
Yeah.
Now, if I upped the ISO a little bit, I could have gotten it maybe to about a quarter of a second or so, but it's best when you're doing this kind of focus that can
Sorry to give these away.
keep it simple and put it on a tripod.
Yeah.
But with the aperture priority, putting the focus point right where I want it, and then focusing on that spot, taking a picture, go to the next one, and just do it.
All right. Kathy, right?
No.
Another one?
That's me.
Ah, there you go. Knew it was a frog. And I want to hide these. Okay,
Frog.
finally.
He's cute.
Is it real?
Really? I thought it was, well, like another one that I think was pretty sure a fake, but boy, it's like a chameleon. It just blended in with the,
Mike, compared to your screen, how accurate is it?
Yeah, that's,
Oh, I said last time that the HDR setting is gone, and the closest is vivid. And mine is a little bit darker than that, but not much. Composition was nice, and the background fades away.
Yeah, because being that this is a little lighter than what he's seeing, what Mike's seeing, yeah, I would have said maybe just tone it down a little bit, make it just a little more contrasty, but it's
Actually,
pretty close.
that was actually something that I was trying to do, that's part of the reason I decided to send this one in. I would have liked to get more contrast, but, you know, it's a frog. And you're like, can't say, just wait a minute.
Blast.
You know, come back in a couple hours.
You don't have trained frogs where you live?
Yeah. And then I thought later, well, that's why I wanted to throw it out to the group, like, maybe, I mean, how would you do this? This was, as I remember, this was a sunny day.
What kind of lens?
That was my iPhone. I had it in my pocket. Yeah, I had it in my pocket.
Oh, cool.
So I tried to saturate, I mean, I did a little bit of color saturation, but not much. Anyway, just curious about,
Should I have a soap?
screen over it and,
I like it.
It's a ghost like tree frog.
yeah.
What?
I mean, they're all over my yard.
A what?
They're a common, coast gray tree frog, they're very common.
Post?
Copes.
COPES.
We got a really great picture straight down on it, the frog disappears. So camouflaged.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing that draws your eye. I
I
don't,
mean, comments on what people would have done?
I don't think you could have done much more than that,
The
given
only thing
the
I
way
would have
that
done
it's
is
camouflaged.
maybe shot it using exposure compensation, maybe just darken it by maybe a third or 0.7 or a f-stop.
And you could get more contrast in the body.
Well,
She was using her phone.
Yeah, I mean, I had to use my phone.
Yeah,
But
you may
that's,
have that on there, because I know my $70, I can do that.
Change the exposure compensation?
Yeah. Yeah, and the only thing, just think of camera-wise, don't,
right,
because it's, your meter is looking at this whole thing,
right,
and it's coming up with an average. So because that is so bright, it's,
I understand exactly what you're
Yeah.
saying, I got it.
because it's easier to bring things out of the shadows a little bit than take them down from the highlights.
I got ya, I'm gonna go home and practice that, yeah.
So in the iPhone editing section, there's when you go through those things, there's a distinction between sharpness and definition. What's the difference?
I don't have an iPhone, so I can't tell you.
Okay.
$70.
Yeah, well, it's too. But even with the cheap one, it's there. But so does anybody know the difference between sharpness and definition? Okay. I know that both of them look for edges.
I'm sorry to be jumping around, but somehow I fixed it though.
I like that so much.
Okay, this one is really nice. And what did you title this one?
Basil frog. Leaves are basil.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's, actually, I pulled that out of a little video I shot a couple years ago. And, you know, green basil, tan, white, oh wait, it might have been a Cope's tree frog, it might have been a gray frog, I don't remember. I think the frog is a little
Oh, there's a
bit,
frog in there.
Yeah, I finally saw it.
yeah,
I didn't see, I was wondering if the whole thing.
Do you see it all?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, the,
Oh,
I thought you'd mislabeled it until I looked at it and looked at it, and finally I asked Glenn if she saw it, and she did, but I didn't see it until I blew it up. It's a cool shot, those, Kathy.
so obviously I changed the color a whole lot and, you know, that was a brilliant green basil. Don't remember the color. I think that the frog was tan. But the thing that was kind of disappointing was he's actually got his little right arm reaching up. You can see the toes. But I'd have to be like a Bill editor or a Tom Affinity person to bring out the arm. But anyway, just again, see what people think.
This would make a great print.
So what did you do to the how did you adjusted the colors?
I just changed it a lot, yeah, think of those leaves, if, you know, like bright green grass, that's the color of the leaves, is bright green grass.
But what adjustments tools did you use?
If I recall, I was using elements, I did this a long time, I did
Yeah,
this
but I
when
mean, what, contrast, I mean, brightness, shadow, something?
I did this when I first joined the club, and then I was too embarrassed to send it
Oh,
in, because I
come
was like, this is junk, you know?
Wow.
No,
And, so I would have to go back and think about it. I don't recall, but I did it in elements, I'm sure.
That's great.
And just, I will look, if you really wanna know, I'll look. I go home and see if I can remember.
I like the fact that the frog is kind of a little out of focus. Because it takes you a while to find it, and when you find it, you get surprised.
You can't not see it.
Again, you know, that I always like is give the viewer something to do.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Many of my photos do that. Huh?
No, I think that's, I'm serious.
You were talking about, oh, Mike,
I'm sorry.
whoops.
All right. Thanks, Kathy.
Sure, yeah.
We're going to Stephen.
I wanted to see the,
Nice.
wanted to zoom in, so I
Yeah.
could see the
The little-
Let's see, that's shot with a 600 mm Nikon zoom. I think that's shot with a 600 mm Nikon zoom, which aptly will focus to within about 8 feet. And I was using with that this flash that I was describing that shoots a very kind of even, you know, non-contrasty kind of light. I like it a lot. It's not a box, you don't have to enclose anything, you're putting it in front of something. And, that was shot at about a 4th power on the flash. And with the flash, I'm just letting that do its own thing in terms of autofill, auto exposure. It almost always gets it better than I do. I'll shoot it, and I'll shoot a couple of mine, and I always like the ones that it does automatically better. So, okay, that's good. That makes life simpler. But, if you start there, you could always go back and change it, but frequently, to my eye, I don't have to go back and change it very often. It does better than I'm going to end up doing. I guess what I liked about that was the translucency of the wings on it. And the plus of shooting at 600 mm is that you got a very shallow depth of field. And so, that was shot with a bunch of plants in the background, and it just made that kind of even green in the background, which allows you to sort of see the the veining of the wings a little bit. So, that part of that I did like.
Well, the focal length, and I'm sure I've said this before, but the longer the focal length, the more shallow the depth of field at any f-stop. I mean, you can, if a 600 mm, you've got maybe a ½ inch, if that, but it's a cool picture.
So now, I'm going back to, like, in the question of focus stacking, if you wanted to get those wings in focus, it's not this way, it's this way.
Exactly.
Right,
So if you had it trained to stay there,
Yeah,
then you got the one on the head,
right.
and take another one of the wings,
yeah,
all of a sudden, as long as the wings are all on that
yeah,
same distance, same plane.
Yeah.
And then you put them together and the program will put the sharpest spots together.
So it's the same plane,
Yeah,
okay.
two dimensions.
This next one is sharp throughout.
Ooh,
Is that a tree frog?
Got a little green tree frog, on my front door actually at night.
ours disappeared, so it probably went to your house.
We've got a lot of them, so we usually have half a dozen or so on the windows and so forth.
Yeah.
And, my cat's crazy, they're sure they'd be delicious, and they never quite believe that there's a piece of glass between them and the frog, but, cats aren't that bright, I guess, is what the tale of that is.
Well, this one is really cool.
And this was, you could see the translucency of the pads on the toes.
Yep.
Which is, why they're like suction cups, and, that's why they can be on a vertical piece of glass and not slip and slide around. But they're very agile on that. I mean, they're chasing bugs, and they can, run up and down the door, and.
With the flash too?
I'm sorry?
The same flash.
Yeah, same flash, yeah. And that's, statement pistol, so forth have been working. I just thought that the colors and shapes were interesting, I thought of that. Again, that's letting the flash determine the exposure. I probably shot 10 shots, trying to get it better than that, and I didn't think I succeeded in any of them. So I said, okay, let's just go with what we got there.
All right. Thanks, Stephen.
Metallic quality too.
Yeah.
From flash probably bouncing back off of those.
All right. Oh, these are Frank's. And now we're up to Susan.
Let's leave it. Yeah, so this is mine. So, okay, couple things about my experience here. So, I really wanted to do a spider, but I couldn't, at first I couldn't find any spiders around. I would usually have a lot of spiders around. So
Well, you hit the jackpot with this one.
I went and bought flowers and sprayed them with water, and then put them out on the porch, and then discovered there was a spider actually on this white plastic chair on my deck. And I have to say, at first, when I was shooting things, I kind of made up how I could get things. I played with the f-stop, I played with the shutter priority, and finally paid attention to the video that Phil sent, and decided that maybe I should follow what they said, since everything was out of focus. So this is manual f8, 1/200th of a second, ISO 200, and I used a flash. And it's at 60 millimeters, and I didn't have a diffuser.
Yeah, do you find that when you use the flash, you get more colors?
Well, part of what happened was, so I got something, and then when I shot it raw, and when it first did auto, it had a white background.
Mm-hmm.
So when I brought it into Photo Elements, I started using haze removal. And when I did, so this had a white background when I did auto, and when it was JPEG, it was a gray background. And when I did haze removal, all of a sudden, the spider web showed up. I was haze removal twice, and the color showed up, and the spider web showed up, and I thought, wow.
Do you know what kind of spider?
Yeah, I looked it up, I figured I'd better do that for the club. It's an orchard spider.
A what?
Orchard,
Oh,
like, yeah, and it's tiny.
Wow.
I have to say, it also reminded me of Wildlife Macro, because all of a sudden, I mean, I looked at the thing, I didn't know it had green legs, I didn't know its body looked like this, and then when I shot it, there it is.
Wow.
If you're on Flickr and you look up spiders as a group,
Yeah,
and put it on the spider ID,
yeah,
Flickr,
yeah.
but, and the next one is similar,
Mike, can you zoom in?
sure, hypothetically.
Uh,
This thing is sharp as heck.
Sharp as a, sharper than a tack.
So you're using a macro lens or?
I have a macro lens, I have a 60mm macro lens, it costs more than my camera.
Wow.
I really like that you shot it with the thing upside down, it
Yeah.
creates a kind of a dynamism to
And
it.
that was
How's it
one
hanging?
reason why I included this, because the other one,
Yeah,
that you'll see next.
Come
was
on.
Where most of the shots were from, but I decided to kind of, yeah, see, most of the shots were this.
That's kind of cool too.
And again, the chair was dirty. That's what, so doing, the, yeah, the haze removal, these things just popped out because the chair was not completely white. So it was just like a fabrication of haze removal.
Colors that stuff down in the green,
Yeah.
picks up on the spiders.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was all just,
I wonder if those are eggs on top of it, those little round.
I'm not sure.
Well, and the white line on the bottom right, I'm betting that is another piece of the web.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can see it continue as it goes past, and as it is, it looks kind of like a ray gun.
yeah.
Incredibly sharp.
I was amazed.
I think
That
this
makes
is
you
my
want a
favorite,
macro
Susan, of the
lens.
two.
This makes you want a macro lens.
Yeah.
Really?
And currently, there are some Chinese brands that are actually getting pretty good accolades as far as macros go as well. So some macros can be had for like $250, $300, like 16mm macros and things like that. So
Was that, the guy was talking about, I couldn't understand him, Lao, or?
exactly, yeah.
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 I don't know how you spell it. Do you know how you spell it?
No.
I was gonna look it up, but
Well, as I said, Susan, this is my favorite of the two, but they're both terrific.
both.
Yeah. And then there's this.
And this was, like I said, I don't usually buy myself flowers, but I bought flowers and decided to get a spray bottle, and that was that was
Good
what I was
idea.
gonna do, because I didn't know I was gonna be able to find a spider. And so these are flowers, and I sprayed them with water, and on the left side of the picture, I actually did got some of the, part of the flower out on the very left side. The flower actually extended up, and I didn't like the way that looked, so I did some cloning and made it darker.
It's lovely.
Uh-huh. Again, extraordinarily sharp.
Yeah, well, like I said, thank you, Bill, for sending that video, because otherwise I was just like making stuff up to do. And,
Well, the water trick is a good
When
one.
you see images coming from you that are better than mine, I like that.
thank you,
They are.
thank you.
Wow.
I've seen so much improvement with this group. I mean, I feel like I'm the one lagging behind.
No, not at all.
Well, thanks, Susan. And Helen is up. Oh, what happened to that?
Wow.
Yeah, you've got several winners in this group.
Helen, how did you do that? Tell us what it is.
Well, what does it look like on your screen, Mike?
Mm,
A lot darker.
yeah, a little bit
That's
darker.
washing it out. My complaint, and I worked on this thing, was to get the right side lighter. And on the screen, it doesn't seem to need it. That is the inside of a balloon flower, I think, from the back of the end. A balloon flower, I believe. The pistil stamen enlarged. a lot.
Wow.
I don't,
I shot that, now I don't have extension tubes, I don't have a macro, I'm not intending on getting extension tubes, because the more I think about it, the more I think my extension tubes were what ruined my good Canon lens, which I'm glad it did, because I got the Sony and I like the Sony, but they never fit quite right, they would get stuck, and Chris up at the Southeastern said it was probably the spring in the lens. The more I think about it, those ill-fitting extension tubes were probably the cause. So I'm not going to be shooting macro unless I get a macro lens, because I won't go that way. So I shot that at 46 millimeter, f10, 1/160th, ISO of 125, and then started sharpening and enlarging, and couldn't do much more with bringing out the right diagonal side, because I was going to blow out the left side, so I stopped.
is this color closer? I think it is.
Yeah, that's,
It's still a little bit lighter, but of all the choices, this one, well, the composition is great, and that's a big, big part of this. To put that in the middle and it wouldn't look the same.
Texture is just fantastic.
Yeah,
You know, those, I mean, in the purple part, the dark part of the purple part is, they look like crevasses almost, you know, like, wow, that looks like it's 30 feet deep.
yeah,
Beautiful.
great shot.
I couldn't do anything about that mess kind of up at the inside right top is pollen.
Conservative as you were with the light dark, I kind of like the light dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
One of the things, just by the by, they have both in Lightroom and Photoshop now, if you haven't looked, is you can use like a brush so that any particular sub area you want to, you can brush over and, you know, use the darken or lighten or, you know, half a dozen other kinds of things, you know, increase, decrease contrast. But what it allows you to do is be very specific about the part of your photograph you want to affect, which makes it a lot easier than, you know, try to do global things only for part of it.
I tried it and tried it and tried it, and I don't know what I was doing wrong. I tried it in Affinity and I tried it in Elements, and I could not do selective darkening and lightening, so I need somebody to show me that
In
sometime.
Affinity, you have an adjustment for flow.
Yeah,
If you set your flow very low and then clone over it until you like the way it looks, and then stop. And what that does is it just allows a certain percentage of the adjustment to be made at any instant. See what I'm saying?
yeah,
So you set it down like 4%, and just going over and over and over and over until you've got it the way you want it, and then stop.
okay, because I was playing with the opacity and just was not
Yeah,
getting anywhere.
I know, that's the way I've always done it, and then recently I've finally learned about what flow is, and it's very, very helpful. Useful. My other suggestion would be that you get rid of those dots, just because they bug me.
Yeah, I
But,
think
you know,
they're water, but their light was reflecting on them peculiarly, so, yeah,
in paint brush tool, boom, they're on.
yeah, I see.
So did you use manual focus or autofocus? What kind of focus did you use?
Autofocus.
Autofocus. Wow.
I chased this fella for an hour on my back porch. I finally got him. He was shot at 76 millimeter, 1/100, ISO 100. And one of the things that I found is grasshoppers are kind of clear. You can't really, sometimes you can't focus on them because you're focusing through some sort of exoskeleton that is clear. anyway, I learned a lot about grasshoppers.
Well, this is another great one, Helen.
Beautiful, beautiful. I also like the composition.
Title.
Yeah,
You looking at me? You
Yeah.
want a piece of me?
Yeah,
wow.
With those antennas shooting off and they're so in focus and everything, God, it's just.
Oh, you even got a catch light in the eye.
and look at the eye, I was fascinated, fascinated by that. Excuse me.
Wow, look at that.
It is that way, that is not refraction or reflection or anything, that is his eye.
And it's so sharp even when you're zoomed all the way in.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was cursing him. That one's from Archives, which I've always loved. I shot that one with my Canon, which is proof that the Canon could shoot a sharp picture. That most of my trouble with the Canon was me. But that one was shot at 61 millimeter f11 1/60th ISO 200. And,
Well, you have 3 to print.
thanks.
All right, Tom. No, that's not Tom, actually, but
So I saw this, I don't know whether it's a gal or guy or whatever, of that, them, I saw them crawling down the driveway. And it's a river cooter. And I got down on the ground there with it. And I liked it, the background, the green had been very bright, and I spent a minute and took that out. And the margin between the green and the gravel didn't look right, I still don't like it, but I made it so it looked better. I got a lot more definition into the leg and on the head.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then it was extremely small, 600 kilobytes or something. And I put it through upscale media, and it came out this way. And in upscale.media, you can choose either 2 times, 4 times, or, and there's a third one called improvement or something, I don't know. And I said, yeah, sure, go ahead, try that too. And as it turns out, it gave it kind of an artificial look that I didn't particularly like. Those white lines really around its mouth there, they just didn't look right. They don't look natural to me.
yeah, but nobody's gonna blow it up that much.
Yeah, it looks better now from this distance.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fun, like this
amazing.
turtle has been hanging around for several years now.
Named it?
Little foot.
Yeah, the foot
Yeah, the
came out.
claws are just sharp.
Yeah,
How big is it?
Pretty good, like
wow.
a foot long, maybe, or maybe 10 inches or so.
And Tom, did you name it?
No. Oh, well, I named the photograph Driveway Cooter.
You haven't named the turtle.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
You call it that driveway.
So this is mine, and I'm crazy about this, but it's sort of handsome.
Great.
Like could be a placemat or something. These are buckeye leaves. You know how they come out in January, and that's when I took these. And they have that reddish green, and I accentuated the red. And, just a, small. It's a small group of leaves that come out in the buckeyes.
First thing when I saw it, I thought of red velvet cake. Because of that kind of yeah, the red is just amazing color.
So you added the red background?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I selected those leaves and a few of the branches and cut out several things. And then put the And I just like the red, I emphasized the red, and then I found the background color, and then I took it contrasting.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that shot. I think that's like a great shot.
Yeah, this one's really, really terrific, Tom.
Collection of shots of
Real art.
I worked on it for hours.
So have you put it in Flickr?
No,
Oh, please do.
okay, thank you, thank you.
Let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
I didn't put a border around mine because once before I did that, and then I saw something that I wanted to correct and I couldn't go back. Have you noticed that if you put a border around something, you can never go back and make any changes?
No, well, that shouldn't be, if you save as.
Yes, exactly.
You should have a history along with it, and then you can just go backwards.
Yeah.
Delete.
Yeah, but I put the border on and then I went, and I wanted to go back then.
Oh, well, Command Z,
Yeah,
Well-
I could have done that, yeah,
Command Z, and if you're in Affinity,
yeah.
Command Z, what do I call it, the Lazarus?
Undo, yeah. That's incredible too.
Yeah. Lynn is up.
I don't even want you to show mine.
Oh, I'm sorry, these are the ones that we went through before. This is,
Wow.
This is sure the nose is in focus. Right?
I'm not sure his nose is, this is the head of a statue I have that's maybe this tall. And the head's, I don't know, anyway.
I'm glad it's a statue.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever heard of Tinker Jordy?
That's Tinker Jordy, yeah. I love her stuff, just love
But I think the nose is out of focus.
it.
Or is it just the clay? I don't know.
No, it's,
So I don't know, I haven't taken like no macro pictures, so. If this was with a macro lens, I wonder. Anyway, I'll have to keep practicing, I guess.
background's really perfect.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good, I got something right. Yeah, I just wish the nose had been in focus, and I don't know what I did wrong, but the eyes are clearly in focus.
Well, with Topaz Sharpen, you can select the nose.
Or, since it's a statue and it's static, go back and try Bill's. Well, I think I just, either I didn't have the right f-stop, so that enough was in focus, or I didn't focus on the correct thing.
Well,
Anyway.
portraits, and I'm certainly not any expert even close, but somebody knows better, but I think that one of the things that Timothy might say is that you have the left ear in focus and the back one goes fuzzy, and I think that's what you shoot for,
Yeah,
literally.
that's right. But the nose shouldn't be fuzzy, so.
Well,
Anyway, but thank you for that. That's one I'd try to redo and do trifocus stacking and see what it would have. So this is a hydrangea bloom, so you know how big those are. So I was trying to focus on the one with the most white on the petal. Well, the colors.
yeah, good print.
God, the colors. Anyway, the hydrangeas are starting to fade now. The blooms are, so. Anyway,
beautiful.
it's pretty, yeah.
I love the green and the centers.
The colors are just, but it could have been sharper, yeah.
And kind of wonder if some of the opposite way is, sometimes there's some of these filters that you can apply to make it look like canvas or something like that. Sometimes you can take an image that you might consider just, so-so, but you just go the opposite direction and all of a sudden, like.
Make it look like a watercolor or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I was not using a tripod, Bill, I will confess. That would have helped. Anyway, that's it.
And
Well, we didn't have very many, so
Leaf down there, it looks like a movie.
I was hoping to find insects, but I couldn't find any.
Maybe one.
we didn't have very many today, so I went back to the archives.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hungry.
I thought it was gonna be the bottom of the bottles.
Did you bring that in?
Oh,
This one is labeled My Obsession. Some might validate that for me, but you remember when Bill brought pictures of the light table that was a fluorescent light? This is the poor man's version of that. And I think I've said this before. I don't think I've shown this picture, but have about a foot cube white trash liner, one speed light down below in the box with a piece of white not plexiglass, but what do you call that stuff? Anyway, a sheet of white that you can see through, and another flash on the top. And the trick was to try and get them balanced, but
I love it.
I got lazy and I just took a picture of the EXIF on it. But this was 100 macro Zeiss, all manual. So anyway,
I
Gotta put
played,
a diving board at the end.
a diving board. Well, Lord knows I have dived in.
I played with that. I found on that B and H, I think that you said, was someone saying, put two stools together, put a piece of glass, put a light underneath, and you've got a light box. So I tried, and the paper, it took on an ugly brown hue. The flower was fun, but the background, it ruined it, so I got to find something else. But literally, in that case, the woman just put it between two stools, put the light underneath, and stood over it, shot it. It was really a poor man's.
Yeah. Even like, I think it's a company called Godox or something like that. They have these little tents for if you have small things that you want to photograph. And they actually have LEDs that are adjustable on the inside for the brightness and also the temperature. And they're not crazy expensive if you're gonna use it enough, but yeah. There's a lot of different ways of trying to, you know, light up things and
Well,
I'm gonna try a piece of white perspex, I think they call it, or just white acrylic, and see if that'll do better than what I had. But just putting a light under it and then standing over it and seeing what will happen.
And the one thing with that photo stacking, you know, we used it, I just explained it here at a time that we talked about macro. But this can be used anytime. This can be used on a landscape. You know, if you have something that's, you want really sharp from the front all the way through, there is a method of calculating, but we're not gonna get into that because Michael's head will explode. But you can actually.
too late.
But you can actually do the focus stacking by maybe taking one image down here, and up here. You know, maybe just using F8 and stack them together, as long as they're on a tripod, image stabilization off, and that you're not in a windstorm. You know, there's a good chance that, you know, you can use this for landscapes as well.
I never thought of that.
We have
Sometimes people, I mean, you can actually usually come up about 1/3 from the bottom if you're shooting at f8 or f11, focus there. And you're gonna have a large amount in front of it in focus and the large, the background focus. But if you even have more stuff in the front, you can take your first image right in front of you and out, slap them all together, just using that focus merge and.
Okay, we're gonna have part 2 of this next meeting. Frank has pictures, Chuck has pictures, and Bob, I think, has pictures that they submitted but couldn't be here today, so we'll do those. And what's the next challenge?
Storms.
Stars?
Storms. Like thunderstorms,
Snowstorms.
lightning, thunder.
Storms, okay, storms,
Storm doors.
yeah. I mentioned at the end of the meeting last time that I was worried that the video would not convert, and I was right about that. So there is no video of the last meeting. I have looked, I'm not going to say there is no solution to the problem, but others on the Zoom forum have mentioned the same problem. I have not found I'm not saying again, I'm not saying there's not one out there, but I don't know what the remedy is. I came very, very close to saying I'm just going to quit recording because it causes me headaches. But I decided that I was just going to quit worrying about it if it didn't work, as opposed to just. But if there's no video, it'll show up in the notes that there is no video, and I can probably tell within 5 minutes of closing this that it worked or it didn't. But
Everybody's phone out there should have an ability to do exposure compensation. My $70 one can.
all right, folks.
One comment on keying off of what he said. I enjoy going back and looking at the pictures after a meeting, and so sometime I will go back and look at the recording if it's there. If it's not, my life doesn't come to an end. But this is another opportunity for me to encourage people to put their good stuff, particularly their meeting stuff, on Flickr, so that if by chance the conversion doesn't work, we've got another opportunity to look at these things on Flickr. And given what we've got today, other people would enjoy looking at this stuff too, because today was good. But just another begging you to put your stuff on Flickr, and I think all but 2 of us now have accounts. All of us here have an account, so remember to put it up today.
Good idea.
I've got to stop being a bum.
Thank you all.